Yes, people, welcome back to the 1894 podcast. I'm Hugh, I've got Dara here with me as always for the City versus Southampton review. A 5-2 win for the Blues. We're back on track after that horrid loss last week to Manchester United. This is what we needed, a big score and a decent performance to get us back into the right mind frame to take on the rest of the season. Dara, what were your thoughts on that game?
Yeah, it was comprehensive enough. I mean, we looked a bit shaky at the back, but it was a boring game. But we, at the same time, you wouldn't, if we had hit them for 6 or 7, you wouldn't have been surprised. But I'm happy to come out with 3 points. So
it was quite stressful, really, the first 10-15 minutes. I think it's fair to say Southampton had 75% possession for the first 15 minutes, which is quite unheard of for a team to start in the Etihad like that against us, obviously. So I was kind of being like, what the hell am I watching here? This is really poor, and it was kind of almost like a mirror of what we'd watched against United on the weekend. But nevertheless, we picked it up and we got our first goal through Kevin De Bruyne, who really needed that first confidence. It was quite a lucky goal, really, but he got it. So I thought at that stage we were on track to a really good performance. The floodgates were going to open. We were going to, go and do them hard. Like United beat them, what was it, 8 or 9-0? I thought something like that was coming through. But then it brings us to our first controversial decision, which I want to ask you about. Is when they got a corner kick, they put it in, and they were awarded a penalty, Southampton, because allegedly Laporte pulled down one of their players in the box. If you look back at it, you will see that the guy was actually falling before Laporte touched him. I think you've got some opinions on that. Do you want to share them?
I thought it was very soft. It probably is a modern day penalty, but it's a shocker. Like, you know what I mean? And there wasn't an in-depth review. There was no John Moss going over the screen, much like the rest of the decisions. But I thought it was so soft. Like I put it in comparison to what we're about to talk about. Like it's VAR-cical, you could say.
VAR-cical, that's the word. Yeah, you're right though. If you're Laporte, you feel hard done by, but you're also right that it is a modern day penalty, I suppose, which is frustrating. But before we talk about the goals and the players we thought were good, but thought were bad, I want to talk about the next controversial decision, which was the penalty shout that Foden had. He was through on goal, and Alex McCarthy, the Southampton goalkeeper, quite clearly brought him down in the box. It was a 1v1 situation, and he just clipped him. He went down. Foden went down. McCarthy, from all the replays we saw, didn't touch the ball. He clearly just took out Foden. Foden went down, and if Laporte's situation is a penalty, this is even more of a penalty. But first of all, the VAR didn't go in depth at all. We were shown replay after replay after replay on the television, and even the commentators, the lads at halftime, full time in the studio, were saying, "How is this not a penalty? How has he not been awarded a penalty?" But John Moss didn't seem to think so. At first glance, he goes, "Nah, not a penalty, and I'm not going to bother properly checking it." If they did, it was the quickest VAR check I've ever seen in my life. He didn't think to go to a screen, and the boys in Stockley Park didn't do anything to help us, which is disgraceful. If you have the technology there, the software there to use, which has been put in place to rectify mistakes referees make on the pitch, use it. If it's a penalty shout, use it, because that's the main thing it's there for penalties, for goal opportunities, and they didn't. So it's a really frustrating one, VAR. It really wasn't on our side today. What did you think about that?
I mean, it's definitely a penalty. There's no two ways about it. It's stonewall penalty. It's like he's made a genuine attempt to play the ball and he missed it. He caught Foden, and if Foden stays down there, referee gives it. It's just like it's a message that don't be honest anymore. If you feel any contact whatsoever, go down and stay down.
Exactly, and my point is, it's that like they have the software there and they don't use it properly. Like they're not going in depth to check it. And like if they showed us VAR checks on screen and they went for like a proper VAR check, the long ones that we complain about, but they at the end of the day they get the right decision. Like if we saw on screen that McCarthy actually got the ball, even just a nick of it, we'd hold our hands up and say, fair enough. It's not a penalty. He got the ball, fair, clear as day. But if it's not the case and he gets Foden and no ball, it's a penalty and it should be awarded to City. Simple as. And that's what VAR is brought in for, and it's not done its job today, unfortunately. And this is not the first time this has happened. And I'm sure not just City fans will agree with me on this one. VAR makes mistake after mistake, week after week, and we as fans complain about it all the time, and nothing seems to be changing. But listen, we could sit all night here and make a video about VAR alone, but I don't want to do that, because I don't want it to shine off a great result. So let's talk about something to lighten the mood a little bit, which is our man of the match, but not the Sky man of the match, Riyad Mahrez. I thought he was fantastic today. Talk to me about him.
Yeah, man, he's been great over the last couple of months, and now this could be the chance now this month for him to cement himself in the team. He's just been like he added that extra, he added a right foot to his arsenal now, and it multiplies how dangerous he can be. He listened to you. He started using his right foot, and now he's just at the minute he looks kind of undroppable, which is just not a sentence I thought I'd be able to say. That Gundogan and Mahrez and Stones really are undroppable in the same season.
He has listened to our podcast for sure. I have no doubt because I've been saying for weeks and weeks, if you guys listen regularly, that if Mahrez could just add more of his right foot to his game, take defenders on the outside and even shoot with his right foot, you never know. It'd be very similar actual style of play to Leroy Sané if that was the case. Sané was fantastic off both feet, and Mahrez is really starting to incorporate that sort of thing into his game. And we got a goal off it essentially today. Gundogan got a goal from it. Mahrez used his right foot, and I think it hit the post. Correct me if I'm wrong. And
It
Gundogan tapped
does,
it in. So all round today, Mahrez was fantastic, and you'll see in our player ratings, which we're going to put up on screen right now, that I think we rated him possibly the highest because he
yeah.
was really good, and he was taken off ultimately with probably with the view of Fulham on the weekend and Gladbach in the slightly longer term as well. But on the Gundogan situation, he's got his first goal since the end of his massive run of goals. He was really good tonight. I think he wasn't the main man leading the show like he was during kind of January February, but he's put in a solid performance and got a goal for it. What do you think about him?
Yeah, weirdly enough, I thought after the second goal, Pep got a bit of a scare, and he kind of told Gundogan to drop back a bit more. Which he's not a double pivot player. We've learned that over the season, but he was I thought no matter where he played, he put in a good shift. Like he was good. He's actually a very good poacher. He's better than Jesus is at poaching, so that could be that could be a sign for Pep to throw him in for a bit further up from now on.
Yeah, Gundogan seems to flourish the further up the pitch he gets pushed. We obviously saw Gundogan at his worst when a lot of us didn't want him at the club anymore. I don't know exactly who. I'm not going to bait anybody out, but I was possibly in that category myself. But he's really flourished this season when Pep has told him to go into an attacking mid position or even right in the front line. Find himself like you said in poachers positions and just finish them off, which is what he did today. He showed an actual striker's instinct, which, like
Mhm.
you said, Jesus simply doesn't have. So it's great to see that we have that in our attack. And we'll talk about our attack a little bit more in depth, our striker position in a few minutes. But I want to talk about a bit about De Bruyne first. He got 2 goals today, but I think it's still fair to say it's weird saying this about a player who got 2 goals. He still didn't look his best. I
Yeah,
don't know. It almost looks like he's tired, like he's fatigued, because he's making errors and he's playing a bit slower than usual that he wouldn't have done previously. It's kind of hard to put your finger on it. What are you thinking?
yeah. I mean, a prime Kevin De Bruyne. He's running every game. You said it during the watch along. There's passes that he makes in behind that just aren't making it anymore. And when he is even at half of what he can be, it's getting in behind every single time. Like it's just he was poor today, but actually his second goal was quite good. And he missed the first one, but the second goal was brilliant. I thought.
Second goal was vintage De Bruyne, and I was really glad to see that because you can see it's still there. And I've said it even when he is playing badly in our reviews that I have no doubt he will bounce back, and we will see the top Kevin De Bruyne that we've seen and we know and love. But on the striker topic, Aguero came on for about what was it, maybe 15 minutes if you remember,
Yeah,
maybe less.
15, 20 minutes, yeah, and around.
And I was really excited. If you watch our live watch along, which we started doing for every game, if you ever want to come in and tune in and chat to us in the chat, we always love having people there with us. I was really excited. I wanted to see Aguero play. I wanted to give him a chance because I feel like a club icon deserves a couple of games to prove he deserves a new contract because he's clearly said his preference is to play for City next season, even though he's open to offers elsewhere, i.e. Barcelona. But he came on and he didn't get much service. But we were actually getting excited, me and you, in the live stream when he was on the ball one time. Do you remember? He kind of came down the right
Yeah,
side of the box and he had an absolute thunderbolt of a shot. He laid at the near post, and it was just
yeah.
unfortunate. Maybe another day it goes in. So there is signs that Aguero, that clinical, ruthless Aguero, is still there. What are you thinking?
If he can get even between now and the end of the season, if he can get 5 goals and play the way he looked when he came on, I'd happily take him back. I'd give him another year contract just to make sure he's not fully dead. But he's if he can do that, if he can start a game with that intensity like he was playing today, if he starts a game and goes about 70 minutes, then that'll do him the world of good. I'd say today's done the world of good. Like what I mean. I think if he can go into Fulham on the weekend, if he can get a start and he plays like that, I mean, he's ahead of Jesus already if he does that, doesn't he?
I don't see why he shouldn't start against Fulham on Sunday. He's
I
got
agree.
plenty of like off the bench appearances now, and he obviously started against West Ham. He should, in theory, have enough under his belt to actually start a game and really go for it. And I personally think if Aguero gets just 1 goal, the floodgates will open. He'll get that feeling for goal again. The juices will start flowing, as they say, and he'll get loads. Because I fully back a player of his caliber and his ability to know his body well enough to that he can't do the same running he used to, but he will find the right positions and finish off those chances.
Yeah.
So I'm very confident in Aguero should Pep give him the opportunity. But listen, that remains to be seen, and we look forward to the Fulham game, which we'll do a live watch along for. But I think it's fair to wrap up this review now. We kind of covered all the best topics. Thanks a million for watching. We want to leave a link to our Discord down below. We've got a few new members now who help us with our player ratings. So if you don't like our player ratings, you can give out to them the Discord, because it's not always us. And you can also help with our predicted lineups. So we'd like that. Leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you're new. We're 10 off our target by the end of March, which is 150. So we're on 140 now. And we would really appreciate it if you help us out. So thanks a million for that. And hopefully we will see you for the Fulham game. Peace.